All right, we are ready to do some practice problems and write some quick steps of how to do customary units of weight conversions. Okay, so let's slide our journal down, and over here on the left, let's go ahead and write some quick steps. I'm going to put that in a box, and above it write quick. We're going to do some quick steps. When you're looking at doing a conversion for customary units of weight, or how heavy something is, you are going to do these quick things. Step number 1, start with what is known. Okay, start with what is known. Step 2, decide if you are going smaller to larger or something larger and converting it into some smaller units. So are you going from something that's smaller into larger, or are you going from something that's larger into smaller? Remember, if you started with a small unit and you changed it to a larger unit, like ounces to pounds, ounces are smaller than pounds, so that would be smaller to larger. Remember, SL, Stella likes, you're going to be dividing. That's donuts. Stella likes donuts, or you can think of somebody that you know that begins with the letter S. Stella likes donuts. You're going to divide. If you're going from something that's large to small, that's the opposite. So you're doing the opposite of division, which is multiplication. So step number 2 is quite a bit of thinking happening, but you can handle that. Step number 3. Once you have decided that, you need to find the connecting number. So that would be, if I'm looking at this example, that would be the connecting number between ounce and pounds is 16. The connecting number between pounds and tons is 2,000. And remember, the connecting number between ounces and tons is 32,000. So you need to know those connection numbers. That's just something you're going to have to start memorizing. And it should come pretty easily because there's just 3 numbers you have to remember. Well, we started with what was known. We decided what we were doing, which direction we were moving, whether we were dividing or multiplying. Then we find the connecting number. Once you find the connecting number, I would say, in addition to, we'll just say step number 4, plug the connecting number in. So you're going to plug the connecting number in. And I would say, and do the math with that. So I guess step 5 would just be to solve for the missing unit. So those would be the quick steps. I'm going to go ahead and outline those. Sorry, you couldn't see number 5. There's number 5. Solve for the missing unit. I'm going to take my orange that I have out, and I'm just going to outline all 5 of those steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those are the quick steps into what we're going to do. We're going to, down here in the bottom right corner, write practice problems. We'll just write practice. I'm going to draw an arrow, and let's use the purple. And the yellow to shade in practice. Okay, we're going to be doing some practice problems over here on the next side of your journal. So if you'll turn your journal page over, you can leave it for just a minute and set it to the side. And we're going to use all of these example problems that we have. So you can see that they have made their own chart here on page 343. They say in 1 pound, remember LB is the abbreviation for pound, in 1 pound there are 16 ounces, right? And in 1 ton there was 2,000 pounds. So I just kind of showed you some fractions here, and if you want to take a look at that later, you can. They're talking to you about if you go from something larger to something smaller. So we're just going to write in here, if you go from something larger, remember that's an L. If you go into something larger and you change it to something smaller, you're going to be multiplying, because that's not Stella likes donuts, it's the opposite. So this one was going from something small like ounces into something larger like pounds, and that one is division. So you can read through these if you want some more help or understanding, or you can just remember these quick tricks. Okay, what we're going to be doing is we are going to be taking 2 through 10, and we're going to be cutting that section out. Don't throw away the other scraps that you might have, but we're just going to quickly cut out 2 through 10. You don't need any of the directions below. You don't need the word complete or any of the outside edges. Well, you're just going to cut right underneath 8, 9, and 10. So it looks like this. I'm going to set the other scraps to the side, and I'm going to just try to do some basic conversions. Okay, so why don't we take this and glue it into our journal. Up here at the top, remember not to cover the hole on the right. You can use tape or a glue stick. And if I'm going too fast for you, you can always pause the video. That's the best part about doing math journal videos. You can just pause it. Okay. Remember to be going step by step with me and not just copying the answers. That doesn't help anybody if you're just copying the answers. I need you to be trying to learn as you go. So first we're going to look at what step number 1 says. Step number 1 says to start with what is known and decide on step 2 if we're going from smaller to large or large to small. So let's just do steps 1 and 2 on number 2. I have ounces that I know, so they started with what I know. That was good. I went from ounces to pounds. An ounce is smaller than a pound, so that's small. That's large. Remember, Stella likes donuts, so we're going to divide. Step 3 was to divide by what the connecting number was. What is the connecting number between ounces and pounds? I know what it is, but if you didn't know, you could always look back in your journal. The connecting number between ounces and pounds is 16. That means there are 16 ounces in every pound. So on step 4, I'm going to do the math for this. I'm going to solve it. Well, I think step 4 is to plug in the connecting number. So we plug in the connecting number. So I go 64 divided by 16, and that will give me my final answer. So for problem number 2, I'm going to do the work right here. So the equation would be 64 divided by 16. I don't know my 16's times tables, so I can just set it up like a real division problem. 64 divided by 16. And I can just start using numbers that I do know. I know the number 15 can get to 60 pretty easily if I times it by 4. 15 times 4 is 60. What is 16 times 4? I'm going to probably try that off to the side. You also need to try it off to the side. It is exactly 64. So 16 goes into 64 4 times. So the answer here is if I have 64 ounces, that is the same amount as having 4 pounds. Okay? We're going to stop that, and you can come back to the next video to finish the rest of the practice problems.